Did you know that women in the Middle Ages would rub their skin with nettles to get a pale complexion? Welcome to the bizarre world of extreme fashion trends throughout history. As we delve into the Middle Ages, it's clear that fashion wasn't just about the clothes you wore. It was a whole-body commitment, and the lengths people would go to for beauty were, to put it mildly, extreme. Take the nettles, for instance. The desire for a pale, almost ghostly complexion was so strong that women would willingly cause themselves pain. They'd rub their skin raw with stinging nettles, enduring the fierce itching and discomfort, all to achieve that coveted pallor. It was believed that a fair complexion signified wealth and nobility, as it meant one did not have to toil under the sun. And let's not forget the shoes. The Middle Ages saw the rise of poulaines, shoes with incredibly long toes. The length of the toe was often an indication of your social status. The longer the toe, the higher the rank. These shoes were so long that they often had to be tied to the knee to prevent tripping. But the extremes didn't stop there. Women would pluck their hairlines to achieve the high forehead considered desirable at the time. They would also use a white lead-based concoction known as ceruse to further whiten their skin, oblivious to its toxic properties. Yet, these trends weren't just about vanity. They were deeply rooted in societal norms and expectations. Fashion was a language, a way to communicate one's social standing and wealth. It was a tool to differentiate the nobility from the common folk, the rich from the poor. So, as we look back at these extreme fashion trends, we must remember that they were a product of their time, a reflection of societal values and norms. They tell us a story about the people of the Middle Ages, their aspirations, their desires, and their quest for status and beauty. Now let's move from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance era, where things got even more extreme. In the Renaissance, beauty could literally kill you. A chilling statement, yet one that holds a wealth of truth. In a time where the pursuit of beauty often took precedence over health, the use of toxic substances in cosmetics was alarmingly commonplace. Women, in their quest for the ideal pallor of the era, would apply Venetian ceruse, a lethal concoction of vinegar and white lead. This deadly beauty ritual resulted in a porcelain-like complexion, but at the cost of lead poisoning, skin damage, and in severe cases, death. Arsenic, a potent poison, was another commonly used ingredient. It was mixed with chalk or talc to create a face powder that provided a desired pale glow. Unbeknownst to the users, the continuous application of these arsenic-laced cosmetics led to a slow but sure poisoning, often causing severe health complications and premature death. The deadly beauty rituals didn't end with cosmetics. Clothing dyes were another culprit. Vivid colors were achieved using harmful substances like arsenic and mercury. Prolonged contact with these dyes resulted in skin irritations, respiratory issues, and once again, poisoning. The Renaissance was a time of great artistic and intellectual growth, yet it was also an era where beauty practices were tinged with danger. A stark reminder that the pursuit of beauty has often come with a hefty price. From deadly beauty rituals, let's explore the eccentricities of medieval fashion. The Middle Ages were a time of strange fashion trends. Imagine a world where the length of your shoes could determine your social standing. Yes, you heard it right. Shoes with exaggeratedly long toes, known as poulaines, were all the rage among the nobility. The longer the toes, the higher the status. And they weren't just a couple of inches long, some were so lengthy that they needed to be tied to the knee with thin chains, just to keep the wearer from tripping. Now let's talk about breeches, or as we call them today, pants. But these weren't just any pants, they were braies, and they came with separate legs. That's right, each leg was a separate entity, tied around the waist and at the knee. Talk about a dressing challenge. And for a fun fact, did you know that men were the first to wear tights? Yes, indeed, the humble tights that we associate with ballerinas today were initially a men's fashion item. They were worn under those separate legged breeches to keep the chills at bay. So, as peculiar as these fashions may seem to us now, they were the height of style in the Middle Ages. But it's important to remember that these curious trends weren't just about style but were also used to signify social status. Fashion was more than just aesthetics. It was a display of wealth and status. In the Middle Ages, what you wore was a clear sign of your social standing. The nobility, for instance, showcased their wealth through extravagant and often impractical fashion choices. Silk, velvet, and fur were materials of luxury, and wearing them was a clear sign of affluence. The wealthy would even go to the extreme of having their clothing adorned with precious gems and gold thread to further emphasize their status. Shoes were another symbol of wealth. The longer the point of the shoe, the higher the status of the wearer. Nobles even wore shoes with points so long they needed to be tied to the knee to walk. These fashion choices were about more than personal style. They were a way for the nobility to distinguish themselves from the lower classes, and to flaunt their wealth and power. How do these extreme fashion trends compare to modern times? Let's find out. Extreme fashion trends of the past have left their mark on health and society. The lengths that women and men of yesteryears went to in the name of fashion were indeed shocking. From skin searing with nettles to sporting shoes with prodigiously long tips, these practices reflected not just personal style but societal norms, status, and wealth. These historical trends, dangerous and peculiar as they were, can make us pause and rethink our current fashion practices. Today, we may not rub our skin with nettles or wear arsenic-laced cosmetics, but we still have our share of extreme trends. The importance we place on fashion and the lengths we go to keep up with it, the social signaling it allows, and its implications on health and society are not so different from those of the Middle Ages. What are your thoughts on these extreme fashion trends? Share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That's a wrap on the extreme fashion trends of the past. We've delved into shocking practices, dangerous beauty rituals, and curious medieval styles, all showcasing fashion's impact on society. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more fascinating insights into history.